Aquarius, how's everybody doing? We're going to do a little check-in, see what's going on. The Tower. You may be starting something up kind of abruptly, or maybe something opens itself up to you even. I wonder what this Tower is about. We'll see if it comes through again. We're starting off with the Queen of Wands. And the Two of Cups. I'm hearing important. Important. Maybe you're focusing on things that are important to you. I feel like there's a reflection happening related to your standards. I'm seeing like us starting off with a pretty confident energy with the Queen of Wands here. It's one of those situations where you recognize what you want and you're not going to take anything less than that. Focusing on your creativity, focusing on your self-esteem, focusing on your expectations, focusing on your self-care, focusing on listening to yourself, listening to your needs. The Two of Wands is in an interesting position here. You may be taking something a step further, like you may have established something and now you're like, well, there are two different ways I could go with it and I'm trying to figure out where I want to go. It seems like you're prioritizing yourself in this next move that you're going to be making and also leading by your intuition too. And this feels like being very, very connected with what your needs are. All of this looks like a focus on you connecting with yourself. For some of you, you're waiting on or for results for something. Maybe something you've been doing, working on. It looks like there's a bit of a waiting game that's happening in relation to where you're trying to go, and then a path becomes clear to you. A path is made clear. So you could have even been in kind of a waiting period and not been able to make a move, and then all of a sudden, like, the sun shines down one avenue and you're like, that's the way that I have to go. Yeah, something you've been trying to figure out for you. This feels like something very personal that you're deciding about. It looks like this choice that's being made is something very special and significant for you. So it's like this can be a personal choice as much as this can be a career choice, and it has to do with where you're being guided and that becoming clear to you. And you may have needed some time to sit and think. Like, for some of you, you could have even been, I'm hearing storyboarding. Interesting. Okay, so maybe even brainstorming. It's related to what you're getting involved with. You could have even had like a lot of different ideas or been trying to figure out something for yourself related to where you're trying to go. And then you get to a point where it's like this, I'm definitely sticking with this. I'm definitely going in this direction. This is what's in alignment for me. This is right for me. And so that's what I'm going to be pursuing. But I'm seeing there had been a waiting period before that. It feels like while you were trying to figure this out for yourself, you needed that waiting period. And then because of like making some sort of like calculation or decision or like a finer understanding of something, it helps you figure out where you're trying to go. So again, the path becomes very clear to you with where you're going and what you're doing. But there's still more patience that's needed for this. It seems like there may be even a bigger goal that you're trying to accomplish, and it may have a couple steps to it. And so you're kind of taking everything in stride right now. It feels like one of those moments where, one of those situations where you're really trying to listen to where you're being guided. So you get the message that you need, and then you go about and you accomplish that, or you pursue that, and then you're kind of in that sitting period again, and you're like waiting on that message, and then you get the message again, like from your guides or whatever it is that's guiding you right now. And then you go about pursuing it, and then you're in that spot where you're like, okay, well, where to next? And then you get the message again, and then you go. So it kind of feels like one of those processes where like you're stopping and starting, but it's all part of a bigger plan that I'm seeing that's unfolding for you. So it's all, every step is just as important, even though you may feel a little bit stagnant sometimes, because I'm seeing too, there's this notion of like temperance maybe being difficult sometimes, and temperance is like waiting for things to unfold. Like you have to be patient right now. You have to wait for the next message to come through for you. You have to wait for more guidance, and wherever you are, when you need the message, it's going to be there for you. But there's a sense of needing to trust that. So if the message didn't come through yet, you're still meant to be waiting for something and waiting for other people to fall into place. Okay. I was going to say pieces, but it all comes through for a reason. Yeah, for some of you, definitely just as much career related as it can be relationship related. You may be waiting for a certain person to take up a particular role in your life. This can also be you wanting to assume a role for yourself and wondering, if you take this up, are your needs going to be met? Are your standards going to be met? If you're taking a certain job, are they going to be compensating you properly? If this is a relationship, it's about a person. Like, is this going to meet my standards? Is this something I can work with? Am I going to feel satisfied within this? Is there a different move I need to be making? How to get things to come together. I'm seeing a focus too on harmonizing things within your life, maybe also in different areas of your life too. It can be like personal life, career life, things like that, trying to get all the pieces to work together. Yeah, it seems like you could be recognizing that something was holding you back, but you weren't realizing this. It feels related to the way that you need to take care of yourself and what feels right for you. And you may have been like even prioritizing something or someone over yourself, and now you're recognizing that something needs to shift, or that something was blocking you. It becomes very clear to you whatever this was that was holding you back. It could have even been something in the environment for you, like something that was making it hard to make a decision for yourself. For some of you, this is even you recognizing that you were procrastinating on something and you needed to make a decision. And like the only thing that was holding you back was you actually procrastinating. Sometimes too, we get to a point where it's like, going down road A is no like better or worse than going down road B, and you just have to make the choice to pick one and then go down it. And sometimes we have to get comfortable with making those decisions when there's no like particular one that's standing out for you. It feels too, if you were prioritizing a job or a relationship over your self-care, something is going to be changing, and it looks like the priority is shifting to you and your self-care, even though you may have been in your head about this, because it's like, well, what about them, or what about this, or what are they going to do without me, or like, what if I'm not there all the time and they need me, something like that. And it's like, you have to focus on yourself first and foremost before you can really be helping anyone else. So I'm getting that this has to do really with how you're taking care of yourself. And you know, with Aquarian energy too, it's always like, well, let me give service to these other people, and like, what about the collective? It's like, not, it's less so about the individual and more so about the collective. And so you can find yourself doing that in little ways, and it feels like there's more of a focus on you and yourself here, and what your needs are and where you're being guided to go. And rather than thinking about other people right now, it's about focusing on yourself at this moment and where your intuition is leading you. And I feel too like you're really going to be in the power seat now, but it seems like a process to get to this point, and something that you're still cultivating and learning about. For some of you too, you're even taking ownership of something and becoming more independent, so you can make choices that you want to be making, that before, if you could have been depending on something or someone, you weren't able to make choices that you wanted to make for yourself, because you kind of had to compromise things that maybe you didn't want to compromise before. So maybe that was also motivation for you to make a change for yourself as well. And this can be anything, a relationship, a job, like something that you were unhappy within, but you may have needed it at that time until you were ready to make a different move for yourself. So in this spread, I'm looking at Aquarius, Sagittarius, and Aries. They're all connected here. I see the layout as being significant within the spreads. So these can be like areas of your chart that are highlighted. This can be people you're working very closely with as well. It looks too like there's an acceptance when it comes to you building towards where you're trying to build, and that patience and tenacity is needed in order for you to do that. Ooh, something that you're letting go of too. This feels like a stuck or a stubborn energy. With the Four of Pentacles, it's all about making an assessment and being like, what am I holding on to that I can let go of? Where do I need to surrender? And what am I holding on to that I want to continue holding on to for myself? And I feel like because this like process of discrimination is being made in relation to what to keep, what to let go of, something that's difficult. This can even be cleaning for some of you. It's like, why is there so much clutter within my house? Like, what do I need to let go of? What do I want to keep here? But this can also be emotionally. This can also be with your relationships. It feels like a rechecking in that you're doing. And it's necessary to do this at different points in time, because sometimes you need things and then other times you don't need those things anymore. And so it's important to clear those things out to like keep the energy flowing. Because I feel also like you could have been feeling a little bit stuck with something, and now there's a sense of like breaking things loose or chipping away so you can get the energy flowing and get the energy moving. For some of you too, you could be changing up your routine as well. Maybe even in just little things. It's like doing one thing before the other, and then you switch it up and do that thing before the other thing, you know? Or changing up your diet, or changing up like who you're spending your time with, or how you're spending your time, activities that you're doing, which day you do what. Which can also be uncomfortable too, to break out of the routine, but also sometimes it's exactly what we need. This is your lesson. I'm seeing a completion here. This may be something that kind of unfolds during the Saturn retrograde for you. Because it seems like as soon as you let go of whatever this is that you need to let go of, or like make this sort of assessment for yourself and take action, it looks like something new is going to be starting for you. And this can be like a new relationship or a new direction. It can be like career related or within your personal life, something that you want to be pursuing, a project you want to start working on, an activity that you want to do again, or something new that you want to be starting, maybe even trying something new, even getting out of your comfort zone. It looks like you're setting foot, like where you're going to next after you go through this process of like shedding and release. It looks like the next steps that you're taking are very balanced steps with Libra over here, which is just this. I'm looking at Saturn, Taurus, Leo, and Libra. For some of you, what I'm picking up on, which is really interesting, is that there could have been something physically within your environment that was keeping you stagnant, and for some reason it's actually going to break energy loose for you on the emotional front. So it's like something physically that you're letting go of, or that you're weeding out, or that you're changing, that because you're like shaking up the energy, it's actually going to unblock you emotionally with something. When I say emotionally, this can also mean creatively, because we're talking about cups here. This can be intuitively, energetically. Yeah, I feel like you're prioritizing your emotions more. And what feels right to you regarding your inner authority and feeling connected with that. For some of you, this is also about prioritizing your spiritual needs, your emotional needs. This feels like a guided process, but it may have been really uncomfortable. However, I'm seeing you be successful with this. It feels also like this is a next big step that you're going to be taking. And I mean, big is subjective, but it feels like a significant step that you're going to be taking in a direction where you're really prioritizing yourself emotionally and really listening to yourself. Especially too, because like Aquarian energy as well can really prioritize like intellect and research and science, and although that's well and good, sometimes we can negate what's going on emotionally or intuitively or energetically. So this is all so about paying attention to what your body is telling you and what you're feeling, and being able to bring both worlds together. And it seems like you're bringing more harmony and balance into your life because of the decisions that you're making and where you're going. And you feel more connected to. It looks to me also like there's a step being taken to kind of zoom out a little bit. And maybe you had been involved with other people and tending to other people or caring for other people and doing these things that you may have been involved in, or like community related things, like all of this stuff that was not centered on you and yourself. I saw 1919 when I looked up, and it seems like there's a shift to being like, well, what do I need for myself, and like focusing on yourself, and then you can go back to what it was that you were doing before. But by taking this step back, you're kind of like putting yourself like on center stage for a moment to evaluate what you need to evaluate, and then you kind of like go back to what you're doing. You kind of like assimilate back into whatever it was, but you feel more connected with yourself, more in step, particularly is what I'm hearing. All right, my friends, we're going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everybody for joining. Thank you for tuning in. I'm wishing everybody love and light and healing, and I hope to catch you guys next time.